Just when you thought the so-called election audit in Arizona couldn't get any more bizarre, auditors hired by the state's Senate Republicans have egg on their face after finding data that they previously claimed had been mysteriously deleted. And so this weekend, former President Trump, he pounced on that initial claim to bolster his baseless election conspiracy theories. And again, now they're trying to backtrack there in Arizona. Meanwhile, some of the same people who pushed extremist conspiracies ahead of the January 6th Capitol attack, they have now latched onto this Arizona audit under the false hope that it will lead to Trump's election loss being reversed. CNN's Donnie O'Sullivan is joining us with more. Donnie, this QAnon conspiracy about 2020 being overturned any day now, it just won't go away.
Yeah, it keeps on going, and I'm afraid it's probably going to bleed into next year's midterms. We're going to see a lot of candidates who are running on the pro-Trump ticket will probably continue to push the big lie. But you know what we're seeing in Arizona, what we're seeing all over these QAnon forums, elsewhere online, is this absolute obsession with everything that's happening in Arizona. Some people online, even one Trump supporter I spoke to a few weeks ago in Texas, believing falsely that the Arizona audit could lead to the overturning of the election. And of course, this shouldn't be altogether too surprising, Anna, because the audit itself is based on a conspiracy theory. It is based on the big lie. But what is concerning is we're seeing such a level of conversation here and anticipation that something is going to happen in Arizona, that some miracle for Trump is going to happen, that people are really starting to get worked up about it the same way as we saw folks were working up towards the 6th of January, also on the inauguration day when they thought that the military would take over, and also, of course, March 4th when they thought that Trump would come back and be inaugurated. It's all pretty, you look at it, it's pretty silly stuff. It's obviously pretty crazy, but we've seen on January 6th how potentially dangerous it is.
And you continue to talk to people who are Trump supporters who not only believe in QAnon and those conspiracy theories, but who are among a big group of Republican voters who truly believe that this was not a legitimate election. How do you break through to that group?
I mean, it's extremely difficult, obviously, when you see that the former president is now pushing out statements on a daily basis, continuing even, mentioning, as you mentioned, the so-called deleted files in Arizona, which turned out not to be. The fact that Trump puts that out there, the fact that that goes through these QAnon forums, the correcting information never makes its way through in the Trump messaging in those forums. So all you'll ever get is if you go on any of these forums today, the truth there to them is still that these files were deleted. There's something fishy going on. So it's going to be something I think that we'll be tackling for a very, very long time. And not to mention, of course, this is going to undermine faith in future elections, in next year's midterms.
What do you think happens with this vote coming up today in which, Republicans we're hearing in Capitol Hill aren't necessarily going along with a bipartisan commission that was negotiated on a bipartisan basis? But if that doesn't happen, then what?
Yeah, and I mean, look, the important thing about the commission is there would be so much opportunity for us to really try and figure out what happened in that critical period from Election Day to the day of the insurrection. Particularly, we do a lot of coverage on the role social media platforms play and how, a lot of the Stop the Steal movement grew and organized and was mobilized online. There's information that companies like Facebook have that they haven't shared publicly in terms of how this spread. So there would be so many opportunities were this commission to actually be put in place for us to have a proper history of what happened on that fateful day. But of course, we see with Republicans, Kevin McCarthy, it's obviously not in their self-interest for Americans and for the world to know what really happened that day.
And I think you just pointed out what could be lost if we don't have this bipartisan commission. Donnie O'Sullivan, it's good to have you here. Thank you for your reporting.
You are fake news.